Hey guys, this is Jennifer, and this is the Jennifer Allwood Show, the podcast where you learn how to create a beautiful home and build a creative business. Grab a cup of coffee, find a cozy spot in the house, and let's chat. I'm excited you're here. Hey everyone, it's Jennifer. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you here again this week. And this is the podcast where I teach women how to create a beautiful home and to build their creative business. And I am so excited about the podcast today because today I'm interviewing 4 of my favorite designers. And these women are all so ridiculously talented, each in their own right. They all do amazing things in the design world. And I just kind of thought it would be fun to bring them on a podcast all together. And they all have different styles and different things that they're kind of known for, and just chat with them about where they see some design trends going for this year. Ask them kind of what they see going bye-bye, and kind of talk to them about some other fun things in terms of color and what's hot and what's not. So I'm going to introduce all of them for you real quick. And so first up, I have my friend Brittany Hayes from Addison's Wonderland. Hi, Brittany. How are you? Oh, I can't hear Brittany all of a sudden. Hang on. We lost Brittany. This is what happens when you do things live. Brittany, are you there?
Can you hear me?
I can. Absolutely. Might have to have you just talk a little bit louder, but we've got you, girl.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you're here. Will you introduce your business real quick and where you live, Brittany, and what you do?
Yes. My blog is Addison's Wonderland. I'm a blogger and interior designer in Monroe, Georgia.
And I found you initially on Pinterest is how I found Addison's Wonderland. And Brittany had this incredible staircase that's like painted in all these different shades of blue. And I became so obsessed with it that I had you as one of my early podcast guests. And so I am so glad that you're here again today. And we've got Ruthie Stolson, and Ruthie is she's a designer in Texas who's kind of taking over Texas right now in terms of winning awards. And she's got a book that's now published. And I had the honor of meeting her in real life at one of Joanna Gaines' events in Texas. So Ruthie, would you introduce yourself and your business for us?
Sure, absolutely. So I own Ruthie Stolson Interiors, and we are mainly sort of relaxed interiors with a global influence. I grew up overseas, and so that is really kind of my vibe. Is I love to be able to sort of bring in a global influence to my interiors, so a real eclectic style. And we have fun at Ruthie Stolson Interiors. So it's a really great place to be. And we're excited about all the fun things we're getting to do this year.
Yeah. And you're just sassy sitting there. I know on the podcast they can't see you, but sitting there in your leopard print chair. And I just love it. And I'm glad that you're here.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah. And I want to introduce to you guys my friend Deborah Way. And Deborah and I have been friends. Deborah's from the Kansas City area, and I've known her. We decided since I was pregnant with my second kiddo. So about 15 years. And Deborah is the girl that I call every time I'm panicking about paint colors in my own house. She's the one that I'm like, can you please come over and look at what I just chose because I think it's bad. She's the one that I call when I'm like, okay, what do you think about a pot filler in the kitchen? So Deb's my personal go-to. I've got her on a bat phone on speed dial, and I just love her and her style so much. So Deb, would you just introduce your business for us real quick?
Sure. I'm Deborah, and my company is Metropolitan Design. And I do a lot of commercial and residential projects, tenant finish, and I would say more leaning towards contemporary style in most of my projects, transitional.
Yes, yeah. Which I love, and I'm so glad because you help pull me back from the edge quite a bit when I'm trying to do too much. So I just love that you help me balance out my own personal style. Thank you.
Well, I'm a little understated and you're over. So.
I'm a little much, and I know it.
And I love that about you.
Thank you. And last but not least is my friend Jennifer Bertrand, who's also from Kansas City. I'm so glad that we've got 2 Kansas City local girls. And so Jennifer, a lot of you probably already know, she was the season 3 winner of Design Stars on HGTV a couple years ago. And Jen is one of those people who does so much for the community. And if I'm following your story correctly, Jen, right now you're doing some design work for some military projects. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. So I'm doing a show on Lifetime Channel called Military Makeover, which is amazing because my dad was a colonel in the Air Force, and like Ruthie, I grew up overseas. And so like, honestly, veterans are one of those people that you can't do enough for them. So, and then I'm doing a Ronald McDonald House in Chicago. And then I say I'm the Bridget Jones of design. And so I do consulting for an hour for real people, and then new construction and remodels and all that good stuff. I'm just a design nerd and love it.
I just love you. And so Jen and I met in real life, and I've got a podcast with Jen that you can go back and listen to, that we met in real life at the Home Show in Kansas City several years ago. And we have joked ever since that if we ever had our own television show, her and I, it would be called J Squared or Jennifer Squared. And also, if it's okay with you, Jen Bertrand, I'm just going to tell them real quick about the TV project that you and I Skyped.
Oh, yeah.
So Jen and I got together. I can't even remember where the producers were from now, but
it was LA or somewhere.
It was I think LA. It fits the story. But they contacted us about doing a television show where we would design and decorate haunted houses.
I remember.
And so do you remember how I went to Jen's house, we literally Skyped with that. And afterwards I'm like, okay, girl, I can't do this. Like, I would be praying for everybody's souls. I can't mess around with haunted houses. That's just totally not my jam. But I love you, Jen Bertrand. I'm so glad. So let's talk some real quick things that you're seeing coming out in 2018, because the truth is, I don't know anything about design. I am not, I haven't gone to school for this. I don't know what I'm doing. I slap stuff up on a wall, and then if I don't like it, I call Deb. And so you guys all are actually professionals at making houses look beautiful. So I would love to know some of the things that you're seeing really come in for 2018. And, are we seeing things like shiplap stay around? Are grays and whites going to stay around? But I'd kind of love to know where you think we're at. And Brittany, I'll start with you if that's okay. What are you seeing for 2018?
I think there's going to be a shift to more like natural textures and going a little bit warmer. I know the gray was really cool and the white was really cool. So I think those are going to go warmer, and it's going to make, a house feel more inviting and cozy. I kind of have some contradictory notes written down here. I think kind of a layered but effortless look. So,
okay.
Kind of simple, but busy, if that makes sense. Like whatever works for the person. So whatever someone loves and they're incorporating in. And then I also have, natural wood and stone. I think that color hopefully is going to come back a little bit, at least in pop. So everyone that has those all white interiors, I think will come with some pops of color. Like I think green's going to be really big this year.
And we're having a hard time hearing you, Brittany, and I'm so sorry. Did you say green will be big this year?
Yeah, let me talk louder. Yes, I think green is going to be a good color this year. Perfect. I think it's more like saturated color, so less of muted tones and at least like some pops of some saturated color. And
I'm guessing, knowing your style, you love that, don't you?
Yes.
Yes.
I know. I was like, I don't know if I'm writing down what I want to come into style or what I think I think just more like purposeful interiors. So people incorporating what they love, like not this is in style, go with brass because it's in style. I think whatever metals you love, are going to work this year, whether it's chrome or brass or somewhere in the middle of that.
I love that.
The same with the natural. So I think if you have beams in your house or you have stone, instead of painting it white, you make it work. And I think that really adds to the look, makes it cozier.
I love that. I love that so much. Deb, any thoughts from you in terms of what's going to be hot this year and where the trends are headed in residential, of course?
Well, I think that was Brittany.
Yes.
I love what Brittany said, and I agree. I think like a deep olive color. I'm thinking that's maybe going to come around a little bit more saturation in color. I totally agree with the textures. One of the things I really like is I think clients, because of all the TV shows and everybody's really the DIYs and stuff, everyone is more comfortable with what they like. And so I think people feel more comfortable with doing things that aren't straight on what's trendy. So, they might take bits and pieces of what is really trending, but they're not afraid to do what they love. And I like that, because I love when I get a client that doesn't want to do what everybody else is doing.
I know you do.
It's a lot funner. I think too, Jen, you know me, for 10 years have been going, do your cabinets different colors mixed metals. And I love that people are doing that now.
Yes.
You know, they're stepping out and knowing, they're more willing to do things that don't have to last a lifetime.
Yeah.
Like take a chance.
Yeah. But I also love how you always tell me, don't go all in on any one style, because the problem we had with selling our home 3 years ago is we'd gone so far into the style of like old world and heavy texture and golds and stuff that the entire, everything had to be changed. The carpet, the walls, the tile, the lights, they were all so far into that one thing. And so I know now as we're designing our new house, you're like, girl, don't go all in on any one thing. Like,
because especially someone like, and you change what you love.
I get tired
easily. Fluid. And so for clients like you, I prefer that the hardscapes are more long lasting and then use what's trendy in the things that you can change that are less expensive to change. So.
That is great advice. Thank you so much for that. Jen Bertrand, your thoughts on what we're seeing hot this year?
You are all right. One of the things I'd say is gray and white was the Xanax of design. Everyone's needing more life and soul.
Can we tweet that? Can we tweet that?
Well, because think about it. Your house becomes like, our lives were so busy that everyone muted their palate so they could feel like there was control in life, because there's a big trend towards home wellness. How do the colors and the textures affect the mind, as well as how does it organize? So a big trend towards less is more, but really catered, organized design. I loved mixed materials. So wood and stone playing a role in like creating your own new palette or pattern on the floor and whatnot. And of course, like the chrome with brushed nickels, the matte black with brass, all of that telling a story. So I find that, like you guys say, everyone's learning how to tell their story, and everyone's at different points in their lives because of where we are with our kids, our jobs, everything. And so your home reflects your mental state. Sometimes that's not always good, but it can help you feel like you have a handle on it, or if things are feeling kind of a little lifeless, it can help add an injection of soul.
That's so good. Have you ever thought about having your own podcast, girl? Like you're onto something with the whole home wellness. I mean, there's something to that. I love it. Totally love it.
There's a company called Modanus who is doing one called The Well Home. And so, but yeah, thank you. You'll be my first guest, and then all of you guys.
I would love to. I need some home therapy. All right, Ruthie, tell me where you're seeing some trends going this year.
Well, I definitely, I think that color is big this year. We've had a lot of white kitchens for the longest time, and I think we're going to see a lot of bold kitchens coming in. A lot of mixed, white at the top with a dark color at the bottom, maybe. A lot of textures like we're all talking about. I also see a lot of sort of global things coming in, baskets, pottery, pom-poms, tassels, all of that is big right now. Yes. And I think we're going to see more of that, as well as like tile with pattern and dimension. We're seeing a lot of that too. So just really kind of bringing more of an influence of some of that global inspired is just all over the place, which is really fun because it adds a great eclectic feel to your home and keeps it kind of somewhat classic too, because it's bringing in kind of some historical pieces too. So that makes your home interesting instead of just trendy.
I love it. And so I want to ask you guys, if you were to see any trend that's kind of leaving us in 2018, I mean, like I've been saying for a while, I do think all the white's going to be leaving. I think all the shiplap is going to be leaving. I think the dark wood floors are going to be leaving. And so I would love to know what some of the things that you guys think that you're kind of starting to see on their way out. And all of you guys, this is what you do for a living. You decorate homes for a living. And I know in your case, Brittany, you decorate homes and you flip them and you renovate them. And you're so going to have your own TV show one day. You know that, right? Oh, I can't hear you again. I'm so sad.
Okay, sorry. Let me talk. I think my computer's too far back, but if I pull it forward, it's so dark. Is that better?
Yeah, you can pull it way forward, and we'll just the people that are watching us live, they'll just have to suffer looking at your gorgeous face, girl.
Yeah. Foreheads are so in this year.
They are. So what are you seeing leaving us?
Okay, so here's where I said I wrote some crazy things down. I wrote anything that's everything. So I think like when everything is rustic, everything is white, I think that, like you said, like you're incorporating so many different styles. I mean, that's my style anyway. That's all of my favorite designers have that look where you can't put it into a box and you can't define it. It's just a little bit traditional, a little bit modern. The way that all of that is put together, I think is really what defines someone's style and makes a space unique. So I think what's going to be out is when everything falls into a category.
Okay. So what was your quote again at the beginning, Brittany? Because I literally am going to quote you on that. It's when everything is, or anything.
What's going to be out is anything that's everything.
Anything that's everything. That's so good. That's so good. That's where I'm going to tweet you. I'm going to tweet that Brittany said that. So I wrote it down
and I was like, this makes absolutely no sense. But I think that's what I personally don't like is when a home or a space is all one color or well, you can make one color work. I take that back. You can make that work. But everything it's overdone.
Yes,
basically.
got it.
The look that's overdone, I think, is going to be out.
I totally agree. Deb, what do you see leaving us this year that maybe people will be getting rid of or steering clear of?
Well, I hope that Brittany's correct on all in. I've never been a fan of that. So I agree with that statement. I also agree that the dark woods, I think, that's another one of those items that you can go, I think that was a real trendy, it was around for quite a while, but I like a more neutral wood that can change with your changing design as you go. So more medium tones. I like to see the dark woods. I think they're going. And also, I don't want to say Subway's going because people love Subway size tile, but I don't like Subway tile. I hope that people are going to go towards this trend of patterns and textures in tile and larger scale. So, I kind of see Subway.
I've never loved Subway tile. I want to
timeless, but
I know, and I look at it and I'm like, I should love this, and I just can't. It's like it's like,
not enough for you, Jen.
It's like a hot dog to me, Deb. Like everybody in the world likes hot dogs but me, and I just cannot do it. I can't do hot dogs, and I can't do Subway tile. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'd like to see people kind of be a little braver with their tile choices.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right, Jen B, what you got?
So I think what's out is just any design hesitation. The thought of not being scared to take a risk, because I feel like everyone is becoming so empowered, kind of back to what all of you guys were saying. I'm always a risk taker in design, so I hate playing it safe on things. I love classic though. Anything to me that's classic. But to me, anything can look great if you love it and you bounce it. But I think having everything be new is also out. I think remembering to have some upcycled antiques and things that tell a story. But as Chip and Joanna are going on, I think farmhouse has played its role and it will now redefine itself to something else.
I think that's a really great way to put it. Absolutely. Totally agree. Ruthie, how about you, girl?
And, I'll kind of play off what Jen just said. And basically, I think that whole sort of rustic granola look.
Rustic granola. I love it.
I think it's going to become a little bit more refined and a little bit formalized, because we've been so relaxed. And I think that's great. But I think people are kind of ready to have more of a sophisticated feel to their homes. We're kind of ready to bring in some of that formality.
Please tell me we're bringing some bling black. I gotta have some glam. I gotta have. Okay.
You can have a chandelier. You can choose just one chandelier that'll be the star. There you go, Jen.
That's awesome. I'm all about the chandelier.
Yeah, and I hope that a lot of the lattice print. I'm kind of over it. That's one of my things. The lattice print.
On the carpets?
The carpet, I kind of like the carpet, but I would say that the lampshades and the wallpaper, there's just too much of it, So I would say that's one of the things I'd kind of like to see.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to switch up the order here and ask you our next question first. So if someone that's listening to the podcast has a really tiny budget, Ruthie, and they can't afford someone that in their area that does what you ladies do, What's your best advice for them in terms of updating their home if they can't bring in a professional to help them, and maybe this just isn't their wheelhouse, it's just not something they're great at? I know I'm constantly telling people, go to Pinterest. Go to Pinterest and find rooms that you love. And then when you find them, like, determine what about it is it that you like. Is it the fact that the floors are dark and the walls are light, or is it the way they've arranged the furniture? And so find pictures that you love and then try to use those to help guide you in your own space. So that's one of my tips. But what would you have for a tip for someone that can't afford design help, but they really would like to update their space?
Well, of course, paint covers a multitude of sins.
Amen.
We all know that, right? But the other thing would be, for me, is artwork. So artwork can bring in a huge statement. So, bigger pieces and less of the little things so that you can make a big statement. So, go to thrift stores, find a huge canvas that has a piece of art on it already and paint over it, and with your own color. Just be creative. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be an artist, but bring in big pieces that can cover a wall and make a huge statement. And to me, that's a great way to do something on a budget that doesn't cost a lot, but can instantly be personalized and also make you feel like you have an updated home. Because artwork, all the abstract artwork with all the muted tones and bold colors are big.
Love that.
Yeah.
Jen?
Ooh, so I would say this is, I get so excited, and it's so fun doing this with all of you guys. But I would say this is, there are some designers out there, though, that would consult for 1 hour. I still do that for people, because even if you think you can't afford a designer, having experts just advise you can save you money. So 1 hour invested in good advice that gets you on a plan is worth that 1 hour of money. So I'm a firm believer in, finding someone willing to consult with you. If you can't do that or don't want to because you think designers are crazy, we're really nice people, I think the great thing is Pinterest or following blogs like Brittany's and all of that is, you look at it and find the one that fits your house. It's like a haircut. I can only put things on my face that fit this face shape. So look at your house like that too. Not everything will make sense for your house. So find one that kind of makes sense to your house.
That's really good. Deb, your thoughts if someone wants a designer and they don't have Deb on a bat phone like I do?
Well, I love everything that Jennifer just said. And I'll tell you one of my favorite things to do. And I do consultations, not a lot, but I still do them. If someone calls me, I will go do a consultation for them. And I've done it for, people of all ages, even down to like college students. And what I love to do is, I think the number one thing that people can do, even if they have no budget, is get rid of like a third of what's in the room and move everything else around. Because I think people get stuck. They put a room one way, and if you don't have any design sense about you and you're not really sure what to do, you kind of just leave everything right where it's at, and it's always there. And so I would say, hire a designer to come in and see if they'll just help you move things around. Put the sofa over here, move this chair here, get rid of all this clutter, and just move things around. That's the least expensive thing.
You've helped me so many times in the past, just like when I've been bored with my living room, you've literally come over and we've emptied it and then pulled from all these other rooms in my house to redo the living room, which I love. And then I'm not actually spending any money.
It's free, and it gives you a fresh feeling when you're in your space. So
excellent. Brittany, for someone who would love to fly you in to decorate their whole house, but they can't afford that, any suggestions for them?
Of course, I put paint goes a really long way.
Yes.
Whether you use it for the obvious things or you're painting furniture, or even I use it a lot, like you can kind of see our ceiling in the background, to like accentuate like the really great things about a room. Maybe the room overall isn't what you like, but it has some great features, and you can use that to make those stand out even more. And I just think too, like shopping at some places that you don't expect are good, like I love like Home Goods and TJ Maxx, and and even if you have to pop in like once a week or something, like
find some treasures.
They get shipments and stuff, because all the time people will be like, wow, did you get that at Anthropologie? And I'm like, no, I found it at TJ Maxx or Home Goods. So even like World Market, I hate to say like company names, but I think that really looking around and seeing what you can find. And then I know it can be expensive, but if you do it yourself, maybe not. But wallpaper think can really
Wallpaper is so trendy right now, and I've got it going in a couple rooms of our new house. And what's funny is, for how many years owning a decorative painting company, I have been paid to cover up wallpaper. I have hated wallpaper. I used to remove wallpaper before we would faux. I swore I would never have wallpaper, and now I've got it going in 2 rooms.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, there's some really great stencils right now too, if you're really feeling some DIY that can.
If I'm feeling like I need to keep stenciling. Yes.
Or vinyl decals too.
Say that again, Jen. What kind of decals?
Oh, vinyl. Just because if you can't do the stencil or the wallpaper, put them everywhere.
Yes, I love that.
And the removable wallpaper too. There's lots of removable wallpapers. You can just do one accent wall at the end of a hallway. It doesn't even have to be big. It could just be this pop of color that you see when you walk in an entryway, and then you can remove it. That's fabulous.
I love that idea at the end of a hallway. So, all right, last question for all you ladies before we let you go, because I know you're all very, very busy, and I appreciate you so much being here. But my last question is, if you could work for any celebrity and decorate and design their home, who would it be? So who wants to go first? So I'll go first. Like, I used to think that I wanted to do faux finishing in Oprah Winfrey's home. I don't know why. I had a literal dream about it one night. I'm like, I want to do some painting in Oprah's house. So
that was my pick.
Was that your pick? Was Oprah Deb? Okay. Ruthie, how about you?
I like her budget.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, for me, Jen, it's I don't know if any of you guys know Christine Kane, but she's like I just love her because she has started an organization called Propel Women, and she's pushing women forward to do better things. Yes. And I know she travels a ton, and I feel like my goal would be to just create a haven for her so that she can, because she gives back so much,
she does,
to be able to have a place that she could come home to and with her family and enjoy, because she just gives so much.
She also does A21 Ministries, right?
Yes. So she's just all over the place, and I just admire her and respect her, and I just feel like that would be something I would enjoy, just being a part of her life for what she does. Yeah.
That's awesome. Jen B., how about you?
Oh my gosh, this is the part in the pageant where I feel like I'm supposed to say something really like noble and honorable, like Maya Angelou. But really, I just want to like decorate for someone really funny, like Tina Fey or Amy Schumer or Larry David, like someone that would make me laugh, that I know I could add like luxe casual design, but a twist of fun.
Yeah. I love your answer. I totally love your answer.
So great.
Okay, and Deb, you said it would be Oprah, right? And then Brittany, what about you? Is there anybody you would love to do some design work for?
I totally agree with her. I feel like you'll have all these like amazing, and then the one I wrote down. Okay, so this sounds really off the wall, but if they were to ever like be able to renovate a home or build a home, I would love to do Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. I would love like that traditional Regency Baroque, like, all their castles have that style, but to like marry that with her, like really like chic modern style.
Oh, that's so good.
I think that would be so fun.
That's
good answer.
Those are all great answers. I love them. So ladies, I'm so grateful that you were all here. I want to go through real quick and just tell everybody where they can find you on social media, or how they can get in touch with you. Ruthie, since you're at the top, will you start and just let people know how they can find you or connect with you on social media?
Sure. So social media for me is Ruthie Designer. So I'm pretty much Ruthie Designer everywhere. I'm very active on Instagram and Instagram stories, as well as Facebook. So you can find me there.
Awesome. Yeah. Jen B?
JB Loves Design on Instagram and Twitter, and then Jennifer Bertrand on everything else. But please come find me.
I didn't understand for the longest time what JB stood, your initials.
I wasn't thinking. I'll rebrand that someday. I was not thinking when it all started, but yeah, JB Loves Design. It's kind of cheesy, but I do.
I love it. All right, so Deb will be a little more of a challenge. This is one of the things I love most about my friend Deb is she kind of stays off the grid, don't you, girl?
I do, and I'm so busy. I
love that. She's got all the work she can handle, and. And I love it that you're not really into social media and you're just staying in your lane, girl. And I love that so much about you. So, all right, Brittany, everybody can find you at Addison's Wonderland?
Everywhere. Yeah, I am Addie Wonderland on Pinterest and Twitter.
Yes. Okay,
but it's Addison's Wonderland.
Yes, so Addison's Wonderland on Facebook and Addison's Wonderland on the web. So, ladies, thank you so much for being here. You are all just so amazing. I appreciate
you.
And so to everyone that's listening here to the podcast, I just appreciate so much you listening, and hopefully you enjoyed hearing what these professionals had to say about trends and things for 2018. So if you would, go give each of these women some love on social media. And if you have a chance to slip on over to iTunes and give this podcast a review, we would certainly appreciate that. And if you have any thoughts or suggestions for other guests or topics in the future, please send me an email to podcast@jenniferallwood.com. So until next week, stay creative. Thanks a bunch.